Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mina and today is day 7 of Summerween. So if you saw my community post yesterday, you'll know that I didn't really have a day 7 of Summerween yesterday, which was when it was supposed to be. I just had like a lot going on yesterday. I did not get any vlogging in, could not read my book. So I'm kind of like making up for that by vlogging today instead, and we're just going to pretend that it's still Summerween and I'm participating on this last day of Summerween, because I really just didn't want to leave you guys hanging without giving you my final thoughts on theme music and just like talking about my experience with the readathon overall. So I figured, why not just like do the vlog a day later? It's totally fine. I don't think you guys mind and I'm cool with it. So it is what it is. So I am going to hopefully be finishing theme music today. It's just been hard for me. Like, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit slumpy because of the beginning of this readathon. And even though I've been enjoying the book theme music, it's not like the best thing I've ever read in my life, and it's not like holding my attention as much as I want it to. So it's taking me a bit to actually like push myself to get through it. I have 100 pages left, I think. Yeah, I have 100 pages left of the book, so I can just hopefully bang it out in like an hour, or a little bit more than an hour, but we'll see. I also got myself a cold brew to commemorate this last day of Summerween. So good today. That is so good. I need another sip. Okay. I've also been sitting in the car for like a couple of minutes trying to take a book photo of my next read. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I picked up this book called Summer of Night by Dan Simmons, and this is an older book. I think it came out back in the 80s, and it's supposed to be another one of those books that are like inspired by it, that have like a similar premise to it. Takes place in the summer, it's a horror novel, there's a group of kids, some evil forces are at work and they try to defeat it. So I've really been looking forward to reading this one. I think it takes place in the 50s though. It doesn't take place in the 80s, which is kind of a bummer because I really do like reading stuff in the 80s and 90s. So hopefully it will still be good. It's quite long. I think it's over 500 pages if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's like 555 pages. But I won't be reading that in this vlog, and I don't think I will be vlogging my experience reading this, but I do want to pick it up this weekend. However, when I ordered this book from Amazon, it was a used copy, and on the image it had the dust jacket, but it obviously did not come with the dust jacket, which is kind of disappointing. So I'm having trouble photographing this book. I'm trying to get like the spine and my coffee together, but I don't know how that's working right now with the sun. It's just like, it's not a good look right now. Anyway, I'm going to head back up and get my reading in and update you guys when I finally do finish the book. Today also is the day that Fear Street Part 2, the 70s Summer Camp Set 1, comes out on Netflix, so hopefully I will be able to watch that and give you guys my reaction of that in this vlog. So I will see you guys a little bit later. I also just wanted to show you guys my awesome new sweatpants because I am obsessed with them. These are the like Disney Park sweatpants from the Lost Bros Trading Co. And it has basically like all of the different park icons. So the castle from Magic Kingdom, Tower of Terror from Hollywood Studios, the Tree of Life from Animal Kingdom, and Spaceship Earth from Epcot. And it's such a pretty color, and I love, 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 love the colors of these. They're just so cute. They're a little bit pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, they feel like they're good quality. They also kind of size a little bit bigger because I think they are unisex sizing, so both men and women sizing. So this is a small, but it's like a men's small, I guess you could say. But anyway, so cute. I'm obsessed with them. Literally want to wear them like every day of my life. Okay, you guys, so it is later on in the day. I have finally finished theme music and I feel like I deserve a round of applause because this book felt like it took me forever to get through, and I really just like don't understand why I was struggling so hard, because it wasn't a bad book and I didn't hate it, but I was just having a really tough time getting through it. And towards the end, I was like getting super frustrated because I was like, I still have like 10 pages left. And then once I reached the end of the book, I didn't realize that there was like another 6 pages of epilogue, and I was so annoyed. Like, I don't know if anybody else gets this way, but when I feel like the ending of a book is taking too long, I get super anxious, and it's kind of like, oh my god, like I really just want to finish this. I want to be done with it. I had like set in my mind that this book ended on page 372 or 376, and so like when I had reached 376 and I saw that there was still an epilogue section, I was like, are you kidding me right now? So that being said, I feel like my enjoyment of this book has been tainted because of my reading slump that I was in this past week, and the fact that it took me so long to get through this book, and the fact that I didn't finish it in time for the end of the readathon. I kind of feel like I disappointed myself, and I know that's kind of stupid because there's no real like set time for me to finish a book, and even though like my readathon extended an extra day, like it's not a big deal, but for me, I had this personal goal that I wanted to finish it by the end of the readathon, which was yesterday, and I didn't do that. So some part of me just wasn't happy with my reading experience with this book. I think overall I would probably rate this a 3 stars because it was just an average read to me. I do think that for a debut novel, I'm very impressed by this author and her ability to craft a very complicated story. I think that it was strong for a debut novel, and it had its creepy moments, it had its gory moments. I think somewhere along the way I got frustrated with like the confusion of the story because so many like details and like redirects happened to the point where I was like just getting so muddled in like all of the little things that were happening, right? And I think that this book is so psychological because we have this main character who is affected by the trauma of her family from the past. She's also like dealing with a possibly haunted house situation, and she has these blackouts, so her mind is a little bit confused. She doesn't know when certain things happened or how certain things happened. She's missing certain things, she's imagining certain things. So it was kind of like at one point where I was like, what is going on? Like I just want to know like who killed everybody, like what is happening, who's responsible for all this. Like it just got too much at some point, and I feel like if I was in a better headspace for reading, I probably would have appreciated this novel more, but at some point I just like was losing my patience with it. So that's why I'm going to rate it a 3 stars. Maybe if, you know, like I had a better reading experience, I could have rated it higher, but it was okay for me. Like it wasn't revolutionary, it wasn't groundbreaking, and there were definitely things that I had problems with, and it wasn't a perfect book by any means, so that's why I'm going to stick with my 3-star rating. A couple of things that I wanted to mention in terms of like how the vibe of this book felt. So when I was reading this book, it kind of felt to me like a mixture of Fargo, like the movie and the TV show Fargo, as well as a mix of The Shining, in that we're dealing with this haunted situation, this supernatural situation where our character is kind of being influenced or possessed in a way by ghosts or by like this supernatural force. But then also Fargo, because it's like things kept building and spiraling out of control where like you start with one small instance and that kind of snowballs into like another thing and another thing and another thing till there's like no going back. I don't want to be too specific here because I don't want to spoil anything as usual, but that's the vibe that I got from this book. Like the main character started off with this one small speck of incident and then things kept happening to the point where it spiraled out of control. And that's what I mean by it reminded me of Fargo. And then of course The Shining, with that whole aspect of supernatural forces kind of influencing your actions, your mind, your thinking, to the point where you go kind of crazy because you think you're being possessed or haunted by dead people. So the vibe of it felt like that. And if you're into those two things, Fargo and The Shining, you may actually enjoy this book. Maybe you'll enjoy it more than me, but it just got too much at some point for me. Like the author, I felt like was just dumping a bunch of details and confusions and redirects in there to the point that it frustrated me. So those are my overall thoughts. I'm kind of a mess right now because I feel like I just spent like 2 hours trying to get through this book and like kind of speed read, but also like I was losing my patience. So I'm going to go. I haven't eaten anything all day, and like I think that could also be, I'm like running on caffeine and no food. So I need to eat something. Need to just like chill for a little while. I'm going to come back and talk to you guys about my thoughts of my overall readathon experience. And I'm also going to watch the next Fear Street. So I will be back later and I will give you guys some more of my thoughts. So I'm just eating some leftover spaghetti with meat sauce that I made the other day. It looks like a lot of sauce, but it's because I just didn't mix it up yet. But be doing that. It's also like steaming like crazy. Okay, I'm gonna mix this because I can't do it with one hand. I'm ready for Fear Street. Bowl of freshly popped popcorn, and this is my favorite seltzer flavor. It's called raspberry hibiscus. It sounds like it wouldn't be good, but it is honestly so good. Here we go. Hello friends, it is now the next day. It is Saturday today, and I'm here just to kind of end the vlog and give you guys my final thoughts on the readathon as a whole, the Summerween readathon, as well as talk to you a little bit about the Fear Street 1978 movie that I watched last night. I'm gonna start with Fear Street. It was so freaking good. I know I said that about 1994, but both of them are just so strong, such great like entries into the horror genre with like these amazing retro horror vibes that I absolutely love. Oh my god, like it was just so good. I'm actually like, I don't know which part I preferred more because I really do like the setting of the summer camp in 1978, and I think that it was pulling a lot from Friday the 13th, just like the 1994 Fear Street was pulling from Scream. There was definitely so many parallels. Like I said in the last vlog with 1994, this one, 1978, was using a lot of influence from the music of Friday the 13th. A lot of the imagery was very similar, and it just had like a really nice summer camp vibe. Perfect for Camp Spooky, by the way, and I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I also thought that I like the characters a little bit more in 1978 than I did in 1994. I don't know why that is. I just found the ones in 1994 to be a little bit annoying and the acting wasn't the best in 1994, but I think the characters in this one were a lot stronger and more interesting to follow. So it was so good. Definitely a wonderful, wonderful slasher film, and I highly recommend it. So please do watch it if you haven't. The next installment, I think it comes out next Friday, and it takes place in 1666. So we are going back to the origin, the history story of the witch, and like where everything came from, where this curse came from, why is everybody a killer in Shadyside. And I also really like the fact that these movies also have like this little like subtext of classism, and there's like this war between these two neighboring towns, Shadyside and Sunnyvale. And Sunnyvale is more of like the upper class, wealthy, rich, classy town, versus Shadyside that's a little bit more run down. There are, you know, it's a little bit lower economically, and the curse is associated with Shadyside, so there's like a stigma surrounding the people who come from that town. And I feel like that's such an interesting premise to kind of like have at the back burner of the story, if you will. It adds like an extra element to the plot, and I find that to be really interesting, and I'm interested to see like how things come together in the final chapter next week. I'm really, really excited. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Okay, I can't remember the other point that I wanted to bring up, but oh yes, this is it. So I thought that Fear Street was a young adult series, and I still think that it is young adult or new adult. That being said, 1994 definitely felt like okay for a young adult crowd. 1978 is a little bit more explicit. There's some like adult content in there, so just warning anybody who has children, if you were watching 1994 with your child, just be aware that 1978 has a lot more adult content in there, so I don't know if I would watch that with children. Definitely if you're like a teenager, do not watch that movie with your parents. Not a good idea. That was the only point that I wanted to bring up. So now that the readathon is over, I kind of just wanted to reflect on the whole experience. I definitely feel like this time around I didn't do as good as I did with Winterween back in January, and I think it really has to do with the choices of the books that I selected this time around. I have learned that I am not good at picking up random obscure books. I do better with books that I am familiar with or that I've heard people talk about. I'm good with like recommendations that other people have given to me, or seeing reviews of books that people have read. That is more of like my comfort zone, as opposed to just like randomly picking up books on a whim, because the two that I picked were not like my favorite, and especially with the first one, I had such a bad experience with that. So I think I'm going to kind of stick to like the books that I have been interested in and kind of like not veer off and pick up any random books, for, at least for a while. I do like to do like my own research on like certain books, and I don't have any problem with like reading books that are not popular. It's not about popularity, but for me, I like to know that other people have read something, and you know, people that I trust their opinion, just because I read so slow, and I feel like if I'm spending my time reading a book that I absolutely do not like, it just feels like a waste of my time, a waste of my money, and that's kind of how I felt with If You Go Down to the Woods. Theme music was a little bit better, but definitely not like an all-time favorite, so I don't know how I feel about like my experiment of picking up books that I've never heard of. And just in general, I feel like this time around I didn't have as much spooky content as I did in Summerween last year, and I'm hoping that there's another Winterween coming up in the winter time, like in January, so I could definitely participate that. But I'm still happy that I got through the 3 books that I planned on reading, and I definitely am happy that I was able to vlog every day except for the last day, so that's good. I hit all 5 challenges, so I'm not too mad about it. I think it was still a fun week of reading, and I'm still participating in my readathon, which is Camp Spooky, so I will be continuing to read more horror books for the rest of the summer. So you'll see some vlogs from me like in the coming weeks of other horror and thriller books. But yeah, it was a fun week, and I am so grateful to everybody who has been watching, everybody who has been commenting. I have received so many comments, like more than I usually get on my videos, and just like hearing you guys like say that you love my Summerween content is like such such a nice like thing to see. And I'm definitely happy that I've like started talking to like some new people, and that some new people have like started watching my vlogs because of Summerween. So definitely a positive experience, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you, and I'm gonna see you guys soon in my next video. I have my Survive the Night vlog that I have to edit. That should come up next week sometime, so look forward to that. And I hope that you all had a wonderful day today, or have a wonderful day today, and I will see you guys soon. Bye guys.